You know that feeling when you see a house and it's like you've just walked straight into a storybook? I mean, they're not just buildings, are they? They feel like a total escape. So today, we're going to break down that architectural magic. We're going to figure out what it is that turns a regular cottage into something truly enchanting. Let's dig in and see what makes these places so incredibly captivating.
It really all comes down to a feeling, right? A sense of pure wonder. When you look at a house like this one, you can almost feel the story that it's just dying to tell. So what is it? What are the actual design choices that create this powerful sense of enchantment? Well, that's exactly what we're about to find out.
Okay, so the style we're diving into, it's called the storybook aesthetic. And really, it's not just one single thing. Think of it as a recipe. You take some natural, kind of rugged materials, you mix in a bunch of whimsical, super imaginative details, and you make sure the whole thing looks like it literally grew right out of the ground. It's all about creating a vibe of timeless fantasy.
All right, first up, foundations of fantasy. We're talking about the magic in the masonry. And I mean that literally. The real enchantment starts with the very stones these places are built from. It really all begins with texture. I mean, just look at those rough-hewn stone walls. They don't look like they came from a factory, right? They feel ancient, solid, like they've been standing there for centuries. And then you pair that with an intricate slate roof like this one, and wow, you get this incredible feeling of permanence and true artistry. This isn't just a house that was built, it was crafted.
And this is a perfect example of just how much range this style has. On the left, you've got this super rugged, almost formidable stonework. It feels like it was pulled right out of an ancient forest. But then, on the right, totally different story. The stonework is way more delicate, more refined. You see those Gothic-inspired arches and elegant touches? See, they're both storybook, but they tell completely different tales. One is all about rustic charm, and the other feels more like an elegant, magical castle.
So it's not just about the materials, it's about the shape. A normal house, has a simple roofline. But a fairy tale cottage, it has a silhouette. Just look at those steeply pitched roofs and that charming little turret peeking out. These things aren't just about being practical. Nope, they are designed to be whimsical. They tap right into our memories of castles and old villages. The places from all those stories we heard as kids. And that's what creates that totally unforgettable, iconic shape against the sky.
Okay, but a storybook cottage doesn't just exist on its own, right? It has to be completely wrapped up in nature. This brings us to our next section, nature's living embrace, where the gardens themselves start to tell the story.
And this is absolutely key. The house isn't just sitting in a garden. The garden is literally sculpted around the house. See the winding paths, the way the shrubs are mounded? It all works together to create this feeling that you've stumbled upon a hidden, secret little world. The landscaping is every bit as intentional as the architecture itself. And this is where it really comes alive. You take those hard, permanent lines of the stone, and you just soften everything with something living. These climbing roses, they're not just adding a pop of color, they're adding a whole layer of romance. A feeling that nature is slowly taking over, making the whole place even more beautiful over time.
And sometimes it is all about the drama. I mean, look at this cascade of wisteria. It completely transforms what would be a simple doorway. All of a sudden, you're not just walking into a house. You're passing through this magical, sweet-smelling curtain into a whole other world. It's an absolutely breathtaking focal point.
Even the way you get to the front door is part of the whole experience. A straight concrete path, sure, it's efficient. But a winding cobblestone path like this, that's an invitation. It makes you slow down. It builds that little bit of anticipation. It makes you feel like you're on an adventure before you've even knocked on the door.
Okay, so a beautiful building is one thing, but to give it a real soul, you need light. And that brings us to the soul's warm glow, crafting atmosphere with light. This is all about creating that feeling of warmth and welcome. A lot of the time, the real magic is in the tiny details. Just take a look at this one single lantern, the beautiful metalwork, that warm, glowing bulb. It's a little piece of art, really.
It's doing so much more than just making light. It's sending out this message of welcome, of care, of true craftsmanship.
Then you layer that effect. So one lantern is a nice welcome, but a whole bunch of them like you see here, now you've created a true haven. This little home just becomes a beacon in the dark, this little pocket of warmth and safety that feels totally protected from whatever is out there. I mean, that is the literal definition of cozy.
And that light, it's never more powerful than when you see it contrasted with the weather outside. A soft, warm glow coming from a rain-streaked window. I mean, is there anything more comforting? It's just a powerful promise of shelter. It draws this perfect, beautiful line between the chilly outside world and the warm, cozy inside.
Of course, the atmosphere isn't only about lanterns and lights. The time of day, the weather, they are huge players here. Look on the left. Bright sunshine makes every single texture just pop. Every stone, every leaf feels so alive. But then on the right, that soft mist totally changes the vibe. It adds this layer of mystery, of quiet, of pure tranquility. It's like the house has two completely different personalities.
And this is where it all comes together. You combine that moody, misty twilight with a warm glow from the lights, and the cottage just transforms. It stops being just a house in the woods and becomes something otherworldly. A beacon, really. Something straight out of a legend you've half forgotten, or a really, really good dream.
So after seeing all these pieces, you have to wonder, why do we love this so much? What is it about this style that just grabs us? Let's talk about that. Beyond a simple home, the enduring appeal.
So here it is. This is basically the recipe we've just figured out. You start with those natural materials, right? Stone and wood. Then you add some whimsical architecture. You tuck it all into a super lush garden that feels like part of the house. You let plants climb all over and soften the edges. You light the whole thing with warm, layered light. And finally, you drop it into a really atmospheric setting. And boom, that's how you build the magic.
And I think that really gets to the heart of it all. These homes, they tap into something really deep inside all of us, don't they? Our love of stories, those memories of fairy tales from when we were kids, and that deep down desire for a place that feels safe and magical and totally ours. They really are invitations to dream. Because in the end, that's exactly what this style is all about. It's not about luxury in the way we usually think about it. It's about creating a real, physical gateway to an imaginary world. Every single archway, every winding path, every glowing window, it just whispers that there's a story waiting to happen right around the corner. Which kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. You know, in this super busy, often crazy world we live in, maybe the greatest luxury isn't more gadgets or a bigger house. Maybe, just maybe, it's having a little doorway into a world that feels a bit more peaceful, a bit more timeless, and just a little more magical. What do you think?